Welcome back to 101 Business Radio, Australia's only dedicated business radio station. Family business has its own unique set of issues because, of course, well, it's pretty hard to just have a fight with someone at work and go home because sometimes you're going home with that person you just had a fight with. Very shortly, Family Business Australia is running its state conference on the 12th of May. And amongst the team of people that'll be telling us all about how family businesses can function, or sometimes not, Tim and John Scott from Scott Print. How are you guys?
Well, thanks, Tom.
Yeah, very well, thanks, Tom.
The challenges of a family business. You guys have been around for a long time. We're coming up close to 40 years now, isn't it?
Yeah. So 1979 was the year Scott Print started.
79. Give us a bit of background about the family side of it, because obviously it's been handed through. You guys weren't running it in 1979.
No, that was the year I was born. So, so it was my father, Dudley, and John's father, Mike Scott. They started the business back then, and they've run and managed it since then. And John and I taken over the reins, suppose, the last 3 or 4, 5 years.
How have you found that transition? Like is it something that as you were growing up, you're thinking, yeah, I'll get into the business, with Dad, or you're going, nah, I don't want to do that?
From my own personal experience, Tom, I'd never thought I would work in print. I packed a few boxes and that sort of thing when I was sort of 14, but I went on to uni and did a law degree, worked as a lawyer for 10 years, and then I joined the family printing company 6 years ago. What
persuaded you to do that?
Well, it was actually family reasons, because I was living in Sydney and we had our daughter, I was married, had our daughter, and then we had twin boys. And I thought, well, do I sort of, do the hard yakka over here in Sydney for a law firm, or do I come and give my energy to my family? Plus, I think my wife wanted that family support as well with the 3 little kids. So
sure.
It was a timing issue, to be honest.
Yeah. So the Family Business Association or Family Business Australia thing covers all aspects as far as both your fathers being in the business, but then your own families as you get older come into play as far as the consideration.
Yeah, I haven't thought about my children yet, but yeah, who knows?
The challenges of taking over from parents, that's a whole new ball game as well, isn't it? Because there's all sorts of things involved in that. The transition, was it a fairly slow one or was it a fairly quick one in terms of, I can imagine that if it was a slow transition, that influence and who really was the boss and all that sort of thing would come into play, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose like any business, when you've got the parents involved and then the daughters or the sons emerge through the business, there's going to be change. I suppose it was, I've been there for 12 years, John's been there for about 6 or 7, so we both learnt a lot in a short amount of time, but I think the transition was kind of a slow one, and then once we made that decision that, this is it, we're going to commit to this and give it a red hot crack, a few things fell in place and it was quite a lot of change in a short amount of time. Yeah, so it's changing the culture and stuff like that. So it's been a bit of a change.
If you guys have been involved for that period of time, and particularly driving it for 3, 4, 5 years, interesting timing, because the industry itself, the print industry, has gone through massive upheaval in that period of time, as well as having new operators of the business. How have you coped with that?
Well, definitely. I mean, 2009 was the GFC, but it was also around about the time that everyone started getting their first iPad. So I rocked up back in Perth, and it was a monumental change. And, the print industry has seen a big change. There's some growth areas, but there's also some diminishing areas. I think we've all seen them. So it's a really interesting time to be in print and very challenging.
The repositioning of your business along, I suppose, the technological lines that are there, but also the cultural lines that you talk about. What have you done with the business to change it?
First of all, I think, as John just said, the amount of print that we focus on is it's still there, but we offer other services such as graphic design and logistics and freight and stuff like that, because they're emerging and growing markets within that. You just can't be a printer anymore. And with change in technology and change in people, it's been a huge, rapid amount of change.
With you being related, how do you find that relationship trying to run the business? Have you got clearly defined roles, or is it, let's go head to head and figure this out?
I suppose we work really well together. I suppose we both got our strengths and weaknesses, and I suppose we work together, really. I can't see there's no hierarchical thing at all. We just both manage what we have to manage and get it done,
And I guess in terms of our, the strengths and weaknesses, it's more about our previous experience. So when I joined, I brought a bit of the legal background and human resource management type stuff, whereas Tim had an environmental science degree. So we're big on our environmental at Scott Print.
Yep.
And I guess I was kind of had more experience in the past with, procedures, processes, and getting your human resources sorted as well.
The business has always been renowned, and it's been around Perth for a long time. It's a well-known brand. It's been renowned for the high-end, high-quality sort of stuff. That's still the market that you're in and you want to remain in?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, whilst others have been sort of reducing numbers or getting rid of like their front-facing account managers, we've actually grown that area and put on more account managers, and we see quality and service as the key things. And look, sometimes we might be a little bit more expensive, but that's kind of how we roll. To do a good job, you can't, as I always say, you can't do all three, Yep. So,
yeah, very true. The upcoming conference that you're speaking at, the content of what you'll be talking about and explaining about the trials and tribulations of a family business, where you're going to be going to with that?
I think the topic of our segment or our session is the third generation and what the stereotypical result of that is. So I suppose we're going to be throwing questions regarding that. I suppose how we plan to succeed and what our focus will be to grow the business.
And also just the day-to-day. So Tim and I rock up to work each day, but we still have Tim's father and my father. They still rock up. So I think Dad retired about 5 years ago.
Yeah, so he says.
And he got a pair of cufflinks made out of some of the old liner type. But he still rocks up. And so does Tim's dad. But they have a couple of coffees and have plenty of time off. But it's still good to have those grey hairs, in the office, and that's part of the whole succession thing as well. And the thing about a family business is that you don't have to retire. The old guys can enjoy coming in. They can keep coming in for as long as they like.
No, that's good.
They're so good with, especially doing lots of change all the time. They're pretty progressive, but I actually made a business card for my old man, just had his name and special projects. So it's good to have them around with the time available in this pretty fast-paced world to be able to get them to focus on a task or a project. And yeah, they're very thorough. They know it all. They've been there, so it's really handy at the same time.
And of course, special projects is the title you give to someone when you don't know what it is they do. That's
pretty much special ops and special projects.
Yeah, exactly. To contact you at Scott Print.
So basically, there's info@scott.com.au and our phone number 9223 7788. But anyone's welcome to contact Tim or I. And yeah, we're there ready to help.
Excellent. Good to chat, and look forward to hearing you guys speak at the Family Business Australia Conference on the 12th of May.
Yeah,
thanks for your time. Much, Tom.
Tim and John Scott from Scott Print, and you'll be able to catch them at the Family Business Australia Conference at the Rendezvous Hotel on the 12th of May from 11 till 5 o'clock if you want to get along there and find about the trials of running a family business. We'll be back with more very shortly on 101 Business Radio.